Do you want to chat with us and other Team Respawn dangos? Well then join our Discord, link in the video description. Greetings and salutations everybody. I'm Andrew from Team Respawn. I want to talk a little bit about Crackdown 3 and I have some mixed opinions on Crackdown 3 and I want to share those mixed opinions with you because I think at this point in Crackdown 3's development cycle, as awesome as the game looks, I think you might want to be a little bit skeptic of the game. It might turn out to be awesome, but there's some things about Crackdown 3 that are a little confusing to me. And so I'm going to break through some of my thought process on Crackdown 3. So to give you some quick background information, Crackdown 1 was released all the way back in 2007. So it's been over 11 years since Crackdown 1 came out. And it was on the 360. And one of the reasons that propelled Crackdown to be such a success at the time was it's an open world game. It was kind of like a GTA clone, quote unquote, for the time. It was completely co-op based, so you could play the whole game in co-op, which was really fun. It really wasn't something you had seen a lot for that time. And it included the beta to Halo 3 when that game was coming out later that year. So it had a lot of things going through it. And it was a great game, and it sold a lot. And so it eventually got a sequel. Crackdown 2 came out in 2010. And it was made by a different development team because I believe the developers of the first one, Real Time Worlds, went on to make a different game, and that game failed, and then they had to shut their doors, I think is what happened. So Crackdown 2 was developed, and it came out in 2010, and Crackdown 2 didn't really hit the peak that the first game had, and it had some interesting design choices as to why that happened. And, firstly, it was the whole zombie apocalypse thing. It seems kind of a little bit cliche these days to say, you know what, if you can't think of anything, let's just throw zombies at it and that'll fix everything. It took place in the same exact area that Crackdown 1 did. It was the same city with the same architecture. It was a little beaten up and stuff from a zombie outbreak that they called Freaks. But, it was essentially the same exact place. And it didn't really evolve anything that Crackdown 1 did. It kind of really played it safe. So there's a few people that really hate Crackdown 2 for the way that it's designed. I'm kind of indifferent on it. It's not like, if I think, oh, let's play a Crackdown game, I don't immediately jump to Crackdown 2. I normally lean towards Crackdown 1. So now here we are for Crackdown 3. And Crackdown 3 was announced all the way back in 2014, and this was kind of leaked a little bit before, teased at, whatever you want to call it, right when the Xbox One was announced, and then they came out and said Crackdown 3 is a thing all the way back in 2014. So it's been a whopping 4 years for this game since it became an announcement, and I'm a little confused on why it's taking so long for this game to come out. They have said that this game will be using the cloud engine based stuff that they were kind of prancing and talking and praising about when the Xbox One first came out, saying games will start be using cloud computing features, which is a little strange. It was rumored to be a core part of the Xbox One software, but we really haven't seen any games take advantage of any of this yet. And so they were kind of demonstrating in a demo of cloud computing technology to speed up physics, so it became like a fully destructible city. And like at the time, everyone was stoked. They're like, whoa, this is so cool. You can destroy any part of the city, and everyone lost their minds and stuff. But we haven't seen anything about this technology since then. It's kind of gone a little dark, and so I'm a little confused. So you're saying, okay, this was rumored to be part of the Xbox One software, but no games have taken advantage of it. So I'm a little concerned if it's still part of the game or not. I mean, everyone says that it is, and I'm assuming that it will be, but maybe it'll be dialed down a little bit. I think it might have been a little bit too much out of scope, per se. And it's going to be interesting on the whole aspect of it, because if they're going to change the complete scope of the game, then maybe a whole bunch of the development changed as well. And I went out to E3 last year, and I did manage to play Crackdown 3, and from what I played, it seemed solid. For better or for worse, it plays exactly like a Crackdown game you would come to know and love plays. So Crackdown 3 plays very similarly, I would say, more to Crackdown 1. I mean, there's still some goofy things with the camera being stuck when you're running in between two buildings and things, and the controls are a little bit mushy, and you kind of float jump when you jump and things of that sort. So, again, I don't think, from my impressions of playing the demo, granted, the game could have been completely overhauled and improved since I played it a year ago, but it wasn't immensely impressive. It didn't blow me away, and they were even showing this off on the Xbox One X. This is when they had announced and were like, okay, everyone can play games on the Xbox One X. It wasn't that impressive. And I'm not trying to say it's a bad game. I'm just trying to say it wasn't as impressive as a Forza 7 was looking right next to it. Or the Halo 5 4K footage that they were showing looked amazing compared to Crackdown 3. And that could be something with the art style. Everyone knows Crackdown's meant to be a more cartoony kind of a look to the game. And it's taken this game forever to come out, and it was supposed to come out last fall. It was supposed to come out like November 7th when the console came out, so the big games were going to be Crackdown 3, Forza 7, Assassin's Creed Origins. Games of that sort was supposed to be day one launches for Crackdown 3, and here we are almost a year later, and we have not heard a peep from Crackdown 3 since that E3 unveil. And it's coming up on E3 again. So I think it's just been too many E3s where we've seen Crackdown 3. I think it's been too many months and years since they've been pushing and moving the release date. And so I'm a little worried if they're pushing it this much, this frequently, is the game not going to turn out as well as people think that they are? And if you're skeptical in the game and you don't want to play it when it comes out, my recommendation is if you're not sure if it's worth the investment for Crackdown 3, at least get Game Pass. They have deals where you can get Game Pass for $1, or if you buy a new console, I think you get Game Pass free for a month. You can do those kinds of things. And try Crackdown 3 out for free for a month with your Game Pass subscription, because Microsoft announced all new first-party games are coming to Game Pass on day one. So you can try out Crackdown 3 and see if you enjoy it enough to purchase it when your subscription runs out, or extend your subscription, or whatever. But again, I think this definitely will come back to Microsoft not having enough first-party studios and first-party games. I think they have seen well and clear that you can have the best hardware, and you can have the best response to the community, and you can have the best sort of features for your box. But if you don't have the killer exclusives, no one's going to be going to this ecosystem. And the reason why I'm such a huge Xbox fanboy now is because of Halo Wars. I love Halo Wars. And when it became backwards compatible and they released or announced the sequel, I lost my mind and went out and bought an Xbox. It was simple as that. But if they had never done those kind of moves, I would have never even gone to Xbox. I mean, I started this generation as a PlayStation pleb. And I think PlayStation has some amazing exclusives. But again, I can kind of talk bad about those exclusives too. All Sony's good exclusives are third-person action games with no multiplayer, whereas Microsoft has been leaning more towards good experiences that you can play over a very long period of time, like Halo 5, Sea of Thieves, games of that sort. So maybe that's something that they want to do within Crackdown 3, I'm not sure. But regardless, I think Xbox needs to step up their first-party lineup. And they've said this in the past, that yes, they hear us loud and clear and they want more first-party games to come. And so I think it's just going to take time. And this might be the first painful step in that process to get more exclusives back on the Xbox. Because there's only so much Halo, Gears, and Forza that you can push out before people get upset and tired of it. And I think we're at that point now. They didn't really plan for this kind of a thing. Granted, announcing the Xbox One as like a media server box didn't do them that many favors anyway. So I think it's just a rebuilding process. But in their defense, they've made some excellent moves to pick up some of the slack that not having enough exclusives. So backwards compatibility thing is a grand slam. I love that feature. Even bringing original Xbox games to the Xbox One and have them even being in better graphics than when they came out is incredible. Giving out free games all the time like they do is awesome, and most of the time they're good games. So it has a lot going for it. So I'll come back to my original point. I would remain skeptical on Crackdown 3 until we see some more gameplay, some more demos, some more videos on it. And I'm going to assume that it's going to be at this year's E3. And I'm going to assume, again, that they're going to have a release date for it. Hopefully soon. I think for this game to be remotely successful, I would actually say they need to move away from a fall release date and come out a little bit sooner, like a late summer release date. So if I had to guess, I would say August of this year, but I could be wrong. I'm no expert or anything. Post your thoughts in the comments below. Are you skeptical about Crackdown 3? Love to know your thoughts below, and we'll have to wait and see how it's going to do. Regardless, we're going to be covering it on the channel, so if you're into that, slap that like button and slap that subscribe button so you can remain in the loop for when we cover the game. Thanks for watching. I'm Andrew from Team Respawn, and I'll see you next time.